Picture yourself standing in an expansive, windswept field somewhere in the British countryside. Above you, monumental white turbines stretch skyward, their blades carving wide arcs through the brisk air. With each sweeping turn, you sense more than just the harnessing of a natural force. You feel the pulse of transformation, a tangible promise of cleaner energy, and renewed hope for communities across the United Kingdom. Yet, as you marvel at their grandeur, imagine the deep frustration when these towering symbols of progress remain motionless, not for lack of wind, nor for want of innovation, but because of layers upon layers of paperwork, bureaucratic red tape, and regulations that seem to multiply with every attempt at progress. Why, in a nation that headlines its commitment to clean energy, does it remain so excruciatingly difficult to turn the dream of community-owned wind power into a widespread reality? Wind energy, once relegated to the fringes of mainstream discussion, now stands at the heart of both aspiration and adversity. Over the last 4 decades, the evolution has been nothing short of remarkable. In the early 1980s, the notion of generating electricity from the wind was often dismissed as a fanciful pursuit, the domain of environmental idealists and technology enthusiasts. Yet, as climate science advanced and the need for sustainable solutions became irrefutable, the movement gathered momentum. Small collectives of local pioneers, often comprised of farmers, teachers, and engineers, banded together to erect the first community turbines. They fought not just skepticism or technical challenges, but also financial barriers and a lack of political will. Today, the United Kingdom's ambitions are clear. The government has set an ambitious target of developing up to 29 gigawatts of onshore wind capacity by the year 2030. This is more than just an environmental pledge. It is a profound social contract. The plan offers the potential to unlock an estimated £70 million annually, specifically earmarked for rural communities. An economic engine that could help build new schools, upgrade healthcare facilities, and spark a renaissance in towns long overlooked by national investment. But beneath the surface of these aspirations lies a sobering reality. Progress is stymied by gridlock, missed deadlines, and a sense of mounting frustration that is shared by project developers, local leaders, and everyday citizens. Let's travel back in time to trace how we arrived at this crossroads. As of the year 2024, wind power was responsible for about 1/5 of all electricity produced across Europe. In the United Kingdom, the transformation has been especially dramatic. Once heavily dependent on coal and gas, the country has emerged as a trailblazer, leveraging its windswept landscapes to become a European leader in wind generation. Onshore wind alone directly supports more than 15,000 jobs, while the broader wind sector provides employment for approximately 55,000 individuals nationwide. These numbers are more than just figures. They represent families, livelihoods, and entire communities reshaped by the clean energy transition. In rural and coastal regions, where traditional industries have withered, wind energy has injected new vitality, offering careers in engineering, maintenance, digital monitoring, and environmental management. One emblematic story is that of the Westmill Wind Farm, nestled on the Oxfordshire-Wiltshire border. Launched in 2008, it proudly claims the title of the first 100% community-owned onshore wind farm in the south of England. Westmill's journey from idea to reality took more than 15 years, a testament to the sheer persistence required to navigate the United Kingdom's complex planning maze. The effort involved countless consultations, environmental studies, and legal negotiations. But the result stands as a beacon of what grassroots determination can achieve. Westmill not only generates clean electricity for thousands of homes, it also channels profits back into the local area, funding educational workshops, sustainability initiatives, and even art projects that celebrate renewable energy. This is not an isolated case. Across England, Scotland, and Wales, a patchwork of similar ventures has emerged, each shaped by the unique character of its community. Yet, the same refrain echoes everywhere. The path to realization is fraught with obstacles. Developers routinely face an alphabet soup of overlapping regulations, local, regional, and national, that require extensive documentation and public hearings. Grid connection charges can be so steep that they threaten the financial viability of smaller, community-led projects. The approval process, which ideally should take months, can stretch into years or even decades. And this challenge is not uniquely British. Across the European continent, bureaucratic inertia has put more than 500 gigawatts of potential wind capacity on indefinite hold, unable to tap into the grid and provide affordable, clean power to millions. Giles Dixon, the outspoken chief executive of Wind Europe, encapsulates the frustration. More wind means cheaper power, boosting Europe's competitiveness. Governments must tackle key issues. The urgency for change is undeniable. In the year 2024, after years of tireless advocacy by environmentalists, businesses, and citizens, the United Kingdom government finally lifted the de facto ban on onshore wind projects in England. This marked a watershed moment, transforming rhetoric into concrete action. Scotland, meanwhile, has long been a leader in renewables. The Scottish landscape is punctuated by the colossal Whiteley wind farm, comprising more than 215 turbines, with a total capacity of over 539 megawatts. Enough to power hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses. Scottish public opinion is overwhelmingly supportive. A recent poll showed that 77% of residents favor onshore wind, with only 8% expressing opposition. Such widespread approval demonstrates a social readiness for change. Yet the tangible progress on the ground remains frustratingly slow. Why does this immense gap exist between ambition and achievement? The answer is found in the tangled web of historical precedent, technical complexity, and political calculation. The planning process for onshore wind in the United Kingdom is infamously intricate. Every project must pass through multiple levels of approval, each demanding detailed environmental impact assessments, extensive public consultations, and often, the defense of the project in court against opponents concerned about visual impacts, noise, or wildlife disturbance. While these checks are important to ensure responsible development, the sheer volume of requirements has a chilling effect, especially on smaller, community-driven initiatives. Grid connectivity introduces another layer of complexity. The United Kingdom's national electricity grid was conceived in the mid-20th century, designed for a world where power flowed from centralized, fossil fuel plants to consumers. Adapting this infrastructure to accommodate a decentralized, renewable-powered future requires not just new cables and substations, but also advanced digital management systems. The cost of connecting a single community wind farm can run into the millions, often exceeding the resources of local cooperatives. Financing remains a formidable challenge. Large-scale projects, backed by multinational corporations and institutional investors, have access to capital and financial expertise. In contrast, community projects typically rely on local fundraising, government grants, and cooperative ownership models that distribute both risk and reward among members. The volatility of energy prices, coupled with shifting policy signals, makes these ventures inherently risky. Nonetheless, when successful, the impact is transformative. Studies consistently show that community-owned renewable projects reinvest a much larger share of profits back into their localities, supporting education, healthcare, public amenities, and cultural events. Globally, the United Kingdom's struggles mirror those of other nations. In India, the Mapandal wind farm, developed by the Tamil Nadu Energy Development Agency, stands as the world's largest operational onshore wind installation. There, strong government leadership and a clear policy vision enabled the rapid deployment of hundreds of turbines, demonstrating how ambitious targets can be achieved when bureaucracy is streamlined and public engagement is prioritized. In Denmark and Germany, community wind cooperatives are not only common, but are celebrated for driving technical innovation, building public acceptance, and ensuring that the benefits of renewable energy are widely shared. Back on British soil, political momentum is building. The government's onshore wind strategy now sets out 42 targeted actions, all aimed at boosting onshore wind capacity to between 27 and 29 gigawatts by the year 2030. This comprehensive plan promises to slash red tape, accelerate grid upgrades, and establish new funding pathways for community-led projects. Community benefits agreements are a key feature, ensuring that the arrival of wind turbines is accompanied by tangible rewards, like new playgrounds, upgraded schools, or even direct discounts on local energy bills. But the central question remains: will these reforms be sufficient to break the cycle of delay and disappointment? Let's consider two contrasting futures. In the first, optimistic scenario, the government delivers on its commitments. Planning processes become transparent and predictable, grid investments are fast-tracked, and emerging technologies, such as grid-scale batteries and artificial intelligence-driven energy management, smooth the integration of wind power. Local communities gain real agency. launching projects that are both economically viable and socially accepted. By the year 2030, the United Kingdom could see as much as 29 gigawatts of new onshore wind capacity come online, injecting up to £70 million annually into the rural economy. Rural towns that once faced decline rediscover vitality as new jobs and public services flourish. The nation gains international recognition as a model of how government action and community initiative can converge for mutual benefit. In the second, more pessimistic scenario, reforms falter. Planning bottlenecks persist, grid upgrades lag, and policy uncertainty erodes investor confidence. The United Kingdom becomes just another European nation, where more than 500 gigawatts of wind capacity remains trapped in bureaucratic limbo. The knock-on effects are severe. Energy bills remain stubbornly high, climate targets are missed, and thousands of jobs, particularly in rural areas, are lost. Giles Dixon's warning becomes reality. Permitting delays and grid bottlenecks are the #1 threat to Europe's clean energy future. Without decisive action, the promise of community wind risks being lost in a storm of administrative inertia. Yet, hope glimmers on the technological horizon. Advances in digital energy management, smart meters, and high-capacity battery storage are beginning to revolutionize how energy is produced, stored, and shared. Imagine neighborhoods that can store surplus wind energy overnight and draw upon it during calm periods. Envision local cooperatives using blockchain technology to securely and transparently trade electricity with nearby communities, eliminating middlemen and maximizing efficiency. The West Mill Wind Farm and similar projects have already demonstrated what is possible when local people harness creativity and resilience. Even more ambitious dreams are starting to crystallize. Experts suggest that if even a quarter of local solar and wind initiatives reach fruition by the year 2030, renewable energy adoption in the United Kingdom could surge by 25%. The implications are profound. Not only would carbon emissions plummet, but the nation would also become more resilient to global energy shocks, such as price volatility, supply disruptions, or geopolitical crises. For you, the viewer, these developments are not abstract policy debates. The future of energy is being forged not just in parliamentary chambers or boardrooms, but also in village halls, community meetings, and public consultations. By participating in local energy cooperatives, attending town hall discussions, or lobbying for supportive policies, you can directly shape the electricity that powers your home and the air your children breathe. Every new wind project, every local planning debate, is an opportunity for your voice to make a real difference. Recent events have shown that sustained public support, such as the groundswell that led to lifting the onshore wind ban in England, can tip the scales from inaction to transformation. Communities that embrace wind power enjoy tangible, everyday benefits. Multiple studies have documented that community wind projects can reduce household energy bills by between 10 and 20%, depending on local conditions and project scale. They generate dozens, sometimes hundreds, of local jobs, spanning construction, maintenance, administration, and education. In some villages, wind turbines have funded new classrooms, equipped health clinics, and even supported the restoration of cherished historic landmarks. By supporting these ventures, residents transition from passive consumers to active stewards of their local energy future. The Scottish experience is particularly instructive. There, a tradition of proactive collaboration between government, businesses, and local communities has made Scotland a renewable energy powerhouse. The Whiteley Wind Farm, with its more than 200 turbines and capacity exceeding 500 megawatts, is a flagship example. Community benefits agreements have ensured that the wealth generated by these projects is shared broadly, supporting everything from youth sports teams to environmental restoration projects. This approach has helped build deep public trust and enthusiasm, laying the groundwork for further expansion. However, no transition is without challenges. The United Kingdom's electricity grid, much of it dating back to the 1950s and 1960s, was never designed for the flexible, decentralized energy flows that characterize today's renewables. Upgrading this infrastructure, laying new transmission lines, installing digital control systems, and building substations requires billions of pounds and careful planning to minimize social and environmental impacts. Furthermore, genuine community engagement is essential to address concerns about visual changes, noise, and ecological impacts. Increasingly, policymakers are making use of community benefits agreements, providing guaranteed funding for local amenities as a way to foster acceptance and address objections. Looking ahead, several trends are likely to shape the next decade of community wind in the United Kingdom. Private investment and public-private partnerships are poised to play a much larger role, bringing new capital and expertise to ambitious projects. Technological advances, such as larger, more efficient turbines, predictive maintenance powered by artificial intelligence, and seamless integration with energy storage, are set to make wind power even more competitive and reliable. Meanwhile, the rise of digital platforms could empower more communities to initiate, finance, and manage their own projects, democratizing the energy transition and ensuring that the benefits are widely distributed. But risks persist. Policy uncertainty, shifting government priorities, and fluctuating energy prices can all undermine long-term planning. Some experts caution that without a stable regulatory framework, both domestic and foreign investors may look elsewhere, slowing the pace of progress. Others point to the ongoing need for education and public outreach, ensuring that residents fully understand both the advantages and trade-offs of wind development. So can the United Kingdom overcome its formidable obstacles and fulfill the promise of a green energy future? The answer is cautiously optimistic. For the first time in decades, momentum is moving decisively in favor of onshore wind. More than 15,000 jobs have already been created in this sector. The government's 42-point action plan is now being implemented, with early signs of progress visible on the ground. Community energy projects, often overlooked by policymakers, are emerging as the true engines of the nation's green revolution. If even a quarter of local solar and wind ambitions are realized by the year 2030, renewable energy adoption could leap by 25%. This would not only help the United Kingdom meet its climate goals, but would also set a powerful example for other nations struggling with similar challenges. The next chapter of the United Kingdom's energy story will be written by the choices made in the coming years. Will reforms move from the page to the real world? Will citizens seize the opportunity to drive change from the ground up? The answers will shape not only the nation's economy, but its standing as a global leader in climate action and innovation. If you found this in-depth exploration insightful, please like, subscribe, and join the conversation in the comments below. Would you support more community wind farms in your region? What innovations or policies do you think are most critical to turbocharging the United Kingdom's transition to green energy? Your opinions, your participation, and your advocacy are not only welcome, they are essential. The future of energy is being crafted right now. Together, we have the power to ensure